2011, and his primary services are book distribution, teaching, cooking, among others. He currently works as a CTO at an insurance company. Let's all welcome Mahabhagavata Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Iskcon program. I want everybody to come in the front. So we have just a little, because we are expecting many more devotees here this evening. We're asking everyone who's sitting in the back to scoot up to the front and create space in the back so that when they come into the doorway, they have a place to sit. Otherwise, they will just end up standing uncomfortably in the doorway. Please come forward, everybody here. Please come forward, please come forward. I know it's a little uncomfortable. The topic today is to save lives, saving lives. Okay, so this is what we are going to do today. We're going to sing one beautiful bhajan together. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. And we'll discuss what it means to save lives. We'll hear one true story. There are millions and millions like that. And then we'll discuss why the Bhagavad Gita is needed, how the Bhagavad Gita saves lives. We'll do a quick measurement about the extent of our own good fortune today. Okay, and then we'll discuss how we can save lives together. A quick recap, a short video will be played, and then we will have a delicious dinner prasadam which is being served, which will be served right here in the temple room right behind us. And then we'll open for the 8 o'clock Aarti for rocking Kirtan. Okay? Everybody ready for this? Not convinced. Say Hare Krishna if you're interested. One louder, still nothing. One more time. Thank you very much. So we'll sing this bhajan, okay? This bhajan actually describes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates saving lives. And whenever we go out from the temple to save lives, we sing this bhajan. So I'm inviting you today, it's call and response, I will lead, you will sing. It's a very simple words, it's in Bengali, and the translation is at the bottom. We won't read the translation today, but we will dive right in, okay? Please follow along, please follow. I'll sing one line, you'll sing one line, okay? Parama karuna bahudui jana nitai gaura chandra bolo parama karuna bahudui jana nitai gaura chandra parama karuna bahudui jana nitai gaura chandra Savatara Sara Shiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda Sara Shiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda Savatara Sara Shiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda Savatara Sara Shiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudhrida Vishwasa Kori Bolo Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudhrida Vishwasa Kori Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudhrida Vishwasa Kori Bhajo Bhajo विषय छाड़िया से रसे माजिया मुखे बोल I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. I beg blessings from all my teachers who are in the room. Thank you very much for continuing the process of Krishna consciousness, showing me how it's done for the last 20 plus years. I'm very grateful to all of you. We're talking here about what it means to save a life. This is the dictionary meaning. You can read the dictionary meaning. Someone or something that gives you a lot of help when you're in a very difficult situation. And that's the meaning, that's the definition of life saving. So people understand it in many different ways. You have medical help. You can give people medical help. You can give people food, shelter, clothing. You can give them education. You can give them jobs. You can give them training. You can give them a livelihood. You can do all of these things. ultimately, all of these things are super temporary. The best way of saving a life is to give the life a purpose. If you once you give the life a purpose, then everything else is taken care of. Whether they have education, it doesn't matter. Whether they have training, it doesn't matter. Once they have a purpose, then everything works out. So, this is just a brief definition. I'm going to tell you a brief story about an atheist at a Mumbai railway station 20 plus years ago. He met a monk with a pile of Bhagavad-gitas, and he's an atheist. He's an engineer, he's an atheist, and he's like, who shaved this idiot's head and made him stand here like this? Who brainwashed this fellow? What are they doing to him? You know, how come he's dressed in saffron clothes? He's a young man just like me. What is going on here? And he said, okay, if you want to help, someone, you find out what drug they are taking, analyze it, study it, and then you defeat the drug, right? You find out. So he had a bunch of Bhagavad-gitas. So it appears that this is the drug that this person is taking. So this person said, okay, I'll take this Bhagavad-gita, another one, and figure out how they are brainwashing these poor souls in this Iskcon, in this Hare Krishna people, making young men stand on railway stations, begging for money. And he didn't give a donation because his heart wasn't big enough. He was not very fortunate at this time. He didn't give a donation for the Bhagavad Gita, but the monk gladly allowed the Bhagavad Gita to go. In India, it's very rare for a book to go without a donation. So he let the book go, and then this person kept reading the Bhagavad Gita, and the sole goal was, remember, to find all the faults and go out there, find these shaven-headed fellows, and show them, what life is really about. Not standing on a railway station begging for money with Bhagavad Gitas, right? But it happens to be, you're not supposed to talk about yourself, but this happens to be me, who was the fellow at the railway station, okay? So 20 plus years ago, as a 20-something-year-old person, probably the first day of my first job, I got a Bhagavad Gita, and I had read about 10-15 editions of the Bhagavad Gita before, and I'll tell you why that is significant. And I had found faults in each one of them before, because I understand Sanskrit, and I could see that people were trying to pull a fast one, and I could see that. And at the end, even if I wanted to trust the Bhagavad Gita's message, I was very confused because one verse would contradict another verse. It was really highly confusing. But when I read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, it was completely coherent and consistent, and there was a clear call to action. And I can tell you, my life is transformed. Bhagavad Gita transformed Arjuna's life for sure. I mean, Arjuna is a pure devotee, he's standing on behalf of us. He doesn't have any need for the Bhagavad Gita, but he became the instrument for this Bhagavad Gita. In a similar way, my life was also very dramatically transformed over the years. And I came here very rough in 2004 to this temple, and not understanding anything, standing in the back. Some Dharmaprana Prabhu, one of the disciples of Prabhupada, got me involved in Kirtan. It's a long story, I won't get into all the details. But I can tell you one thing, the Bhagavad Gita is basically the only solution for what is otherwise life in an endless ocean. Look at this ocean, the waves are very high. Imagine yourself trapped in this ocean. All of us are actually trapped in this kind of ocean. And it's impossible to get out. It's absolutely impossible for us to get out of this, right? You need a map, right? You need a compass, because just a map or a compass won't do it. And then you need a proper ship, right? In order to get this, to cross over this kind of ocean. Look at that ocean, you need a proper map and a proper compass, right? Proper map, proper compass is required, right? So why the Bhagavad Gita is so powerful is because it's authoritative. The Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna himself. He's created the entire universe. He's the emanator of the spiritual realm. He's also the creator of the material world. And it's one compactly, a map, compass, and a ship all into one. Right? The Bhagavad Gita is amazing. It's just 700 verses, it's 1400 lines. And nobody except God can do that. It's very soothing and it's very reassuring in our modern world. It's absolutely compact. It's very small. You can take it anywhere with you. That's what happened with me. I got the Bhagavad Gita many years before I came to the temple. I was carrying it everywhere. I traveled around in the world as a young entrepreneur. I was traveling with the Bhagavad Gita everywhere. In addition, the Bhagavad Gita has a very detailed explanation about most common issues. Actually, every single issue that you can ever encounter has a solution inside the Bhagavad Gita, which is incredible when you consider that it's only how many verses? 700 verses. How many lines? 1400 lines. Okay? It's a step-by-step explanation. It's a delineation. There's no mysteries in it. It's not, oh, if you know, you know. None of that stuff. It's actually extremely clear, and it actually helps you to start from wherever you are. It's not that, oh, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to get there. I don't know when I'm going to get there. It's not going to work for me. This is for sadhus. I'm not a sadhu at all. Right? It's actually, you can do what you can with what you have. It step by step allows you to gradually progress in spiritual life. There's a clear call to action. There's no beating around the bush in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a clear call to action. Krishna doesn't waste any time. Right? And it actually inspires positive change in people's lives. Right? In today's world, in more detail, we'll talk about it. The Bhagavad Gita is available in many, many different sampradayas. Okay? But the Bhagavad Gita, as it is available in the Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya, is even more distilled because it tells you these three key concepts. Okay, I want everybody to say Sambandha. Say Sambandha. Okay. And next word, Abhidheya. Say Abhidheya. Abhidheya. Say Prayojana. Prayojana. So there are three main concepts. Okay, there's Sambandha, Abhidheya, and Prayojana. So if you look at all of our Gaudiya literature, you'll find that these three concepts are explained by our acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada actually describes these steps in great detail, even when he doesn't call it Sambandha, Prayojana, Abhidheya and Prayojana. For example, Sambandha means relationship and context. Okay? So, let's say I don't know who I am, right? Somebody might say, there was a great scientist who is dead, but not gone. He said that we are just, chemicals come on a moderately sized planet, right? That's his statement. Okay? If you can accept that you're a scum, then, well, accept my condolences and we can carry on. But if you don't accept that you're a chemical scum, then there is something more. The Bhagavad Gita describes that, he describes who I am, what I am specifically. It describes that Devi Rosmin Yatha Dehe Komaram Yovaram Jara. It says that I am the one who lives inside this body. I am not this body. This chemical scum of this body is not me. He's right in a way. The body is chemical scum indeed. But the fellow did not understand beyond the body. The thing that empowers and drives the body is what is important. And that's who I am. Okay, that's amazing. Right? But what is my context? Am I just one of those sparks just floating around, orphan? Am I anath? I have no connection, no relationships with anything else. I'm just meant to float around like a piece of dust in the air, or for all eternity. No, Krishna says that Mumaivangsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. They are mine. All the living things are mine. So at once I'm claimed. Right? I know where I belong. I know where I live. I know what is my sambandha. Right? I am an ansha for Sri Krishna himself. Okay, that's very incredibly reassuring because people are going through life, bouncing around between relationships, jobs, places. All of you are missing home, I'm sure, right? And whatever you did back home. But this bouncing around will continue until we realize what is our real sambandha. Right? So Bhagavad Gita gives you sambandha. And then it gives you abhidheya. Abhidheya means, okay, I know who I am, I know who I'm connected to. What am I supposed to do with that information? Right? There's the activity, there's the abhidheya, there's the action. It says, Man manavo madbhakto madhyajivam manosto mame vaishnasi vaibhavam atmanam mattarayana. Okay, it gives you, what can I do? Oh, Krishna is saying, become my devotee. Okay, if I am the part and parcel of Krishna, then it's only natural that I should reconnect myself with Krishna and figure out what the part and parcel wants. If this hand does not obey you, what do you call it? You call it diseased. Right? You call it diseased, you call it paralyzed, you call it whatever. Right? Anything but a hand, right? So, abhidheya means what can I do with my knowing my sambandha jnana. Once I know who I am, once I know how I am connected to, and we are all connected to each other, because we are Mumaivangsho, we are all brothers and sisters in a certain way, right? We are all intimately connected, right? We are all connected as family, not just people in this room, but the whole world, right? Every apple tree is my brother, right? Saint Francis of Assisi said that too. Right? Lord Jesus Christ also taught the same thing. His appearance is tomorrow. He's a great Vaishnava Acharya. We should celebrate. Right? People might not understand that he's a Vaishnava Acharya, but actually Lord Jesus Christ is one of the preeminent Vaishnava Acharyas in the Western world. Right? So that's the activity. It gives us what should we do. We should come here, we should chant Kirtan, right? Krishna explains everything in great detail. Right? I don't have the time to get into too much detail, but the Bhagavad Gita describes all of this. And then describes the goal. What is the prayojan? Okay, I'm a spirit soul, I'm supposed to do these activities, and to what end? And what am I supposed to accomplish by doing all of these things? Right? So I'm supposed to accomplish, I'm supposed to accomplish Atmanam Matparayana. I'm supposed to accomplish Bhoktaram Yadnatvasam Sarvaloka Vaishmaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Jnatvam Shantir Chati. I'm supposed to be at peace. Right? So if I'm not at peace, that means I'm in some sort of unnatural state. Right? It's my unnatural state. I'm supposed to be at peace. And I will be at peace when I know who I am and when I do according to whatever I am. So when I know who I am and I be who I am, then I'm at peace. Right? When we are reconnected with Krishna. So the goal is reconnecting with Krishna. The goal is the pleasure of Krishna. Right? Sarva dharman prityaja mamekam saranam praja aham tvam sarva papebhyam moksheshvami ma shuksha. Don't worry what you have done in the past. Don't worry where you have been. Don't worry about all of those things. I'll take care of you. And Krishna is saying that. And there is much more detail than what I'm giving here in this one little slide. Okay? So all of this is more detail described inside the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? Now, what is so special about the Bhagavad Gita as it is? Right? I told you that the little foolish atheist at the railway station, had read the Bhagavad Gita before. It's not that I had not read the Bhagavad Gita before. 10 to 15 different editions, right, of the Bhagavad Gita. Various authors, various publishers, right? Some editions had Sanskrit, some editions did not have Sanskrit. Some were written in different language other than English. I read all of these Bhagavad Gitas, and always after reading the Bhagavad Gita, I was always like, "Iska karna kya hai? What are you supposed to do with this information?" Right? It was highly confusing. Why is that? Because the Bhagavad Gita, as it is pure. Here's the dictionary definition of pure. Right? Homogeneous, uniform composition, not mixed. Not mixed, as in pure oxygen. Right? Free of dirt, pollutants, infectious agents, and other unwanted elements. No unwanted elements in the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Right? Pure water. Right? You want pure, uncontaminated water. Right? Containing nothing inappropriate or extraneous. Don't bring any garbage into the Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't remain the Bhagavad Gita. It becomes some garbage Gita. Right? It's no longer Bhagavad Gita. So what happened is that I had read all these Bhagavad Gitas, but the so-called authors of these editions of the Bhagavad Gita had inserted their own opinions into it. Right? Calling it Bhagavad Gita, but actually it's the author's Gita. Right? Which may appeal, which may have some merit. It's not that it's, I'm completely discounting the whole thing, but did not have the kind of effect that the original Gita, the original pure Bhagavad Gita has. So Srila Prabhupada saw that as a gap in society, and he translated an edition of the Bhagavad Gita into English, and then which was translated to more than 100 different languages around the world. Right? And it's as Krishna intends it. There's no additions, no subtractions, there are no interpretations. When I distribute the Bhagavad Gita on the street and somebody has already encountered the Bhagavad Gita before, they ask me, especially Westerners, they say, whose interpretation is in this Gita? I'm saying, that's the whole point. This Gita is not an interpretation at all. There's no interpretation. There's no need of interpretation. Right? Krishna is clear as water. He's absolutely fully clear, easy to understand. There's no need to interpret anything. And that is a problem because people have interpreted and not taken the direct initial meaning of the Bhagavad Gita. They have caused so much confusion in the world. Despite the fact there are more than 600, 800 editions of the Bhagavad Gita in the world, none of them have the kind of effect and impact the Bhagavad Gita as it is has. So it's basically unadulterated, pure medicine. The Bhagavad Gita is actually highly pure and unadulterated. This is really important for everybody to understand. The difference between this Gita and that Gita is that, and I challenge you, like read any Gita and we can have a comparison side by side. And I've done this before, right? I've played with my own life doing this, right? Reading all the different Gitas that are out there. Here's how the Bhagavad Gita saves lives, okay? We know that we live in a harsh and sometimes seemingly hopeless world. And it's tremendous acrimony, people always fighting each other,
right? Always misunderstandings, disputes, like all kinds of rumors. Oh, did you hear? Did you hear what so and so did? Oh, all of these things are happening. There's all kinds of hypocrisy, right? Do as I say, not as I do, right? The person is saying, gives a talk about addiction and then comes out there and starts smoking a cigarette, right? Afterwards, right? Or, there's a lot of anger and a lot of sorrow in today's world, right? Nobody is actually happy. I meet people all the time, and sometimes I meet people and we have a conversation. It's one of the first heart-to-heart conversations they've had in a long, long time, and they break out crying on the street. It's an interesting experience, especially because the passers-by might think that I might have something I did have something to do with it, but I'm not the cause of that particular person's tears. It happens all the time, right? A lot of anger, a lot of sorrow, and because of things that we are taking in constantly. You switch on the television, you open the newspaper, you take in the magazines, the newspaper, you go on the subway, you go on the bus, you meet one angry person or two people fighting with each other or yelling or swearing at each other. It affects you in a bad way. YouTube is full of that. Facebook is full of that. Right? Every single media channel that you can imagine is full of tremendous negativity. And this negativity affects us and impacts us and brings us down. So the spirit soul, who we are, actually has a need to hear Krishna's voice. His soothing, his calming, his reassuring voice that tells us who we are and what we should not be worried about and what we should instead focus on. Right? It gives us hope. It actually leads us out of misery. I can tell you that even though I was a fairly successful businessman, I was a miserable fellow. Right? Miserable fellow. Right? And that misery carried for a long time until I actually started imbibing the process of bhakti deeply into my heart. It was a process. It's not that it happened overnight. Right? And it actually solves all the problems permanently. So if you go back to this slide here, when you give medical help, what happens? The person falls sick again. Right? It's not permanent. When you get food, shelter and clothes, if you give somebody food, they'll be hungry in another 4 hours, they'll be hungry again. Right? You can't solve this problem. Shelter, somebody else might come and take away the shelter. Or in India, they give people shelter and then they sell it just to buy some food and clothes. And then they are out back on the street again. Right? These are not lasting problems. You give education, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jada Vidya Mayar Vaibhav Jivan ke banaye gadha. Like all of us, how many years have we spent in the educational system? And what has it taught us to do? Become a donkey. Right? Constantly working hard. Not even just one job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Constantly working hard. Thinking that, this next little opportunity is going to be my break. And before you know it, you're 77 years old and you have nothing to retire to. Because what are you going to do? All life you work like a donkey. How can you not be a donkey after 77, right? It's impossible. That's what our material education has actually given us. Taught us to become a donkey, right? Maya Vaibhava, right? You can give jobs, you can give training, everything. You can train people to be better donkeys, better dogs, better camels. You can teach people to do all of these things, but there is no lasting solution other than knowing who we are and being who we are, right? So here, we're going to do a quick measurement. I promised you a measurement exercise, right? Everybody in this room, I presume, is alive and breathing. Yes, yes. Okay. So you're better off than about 300,000 people who have died today. Whether it's a baby or an old man or a young lady, doesn't matter. There are 300,000 people who have kicked the bucket. You are here, right? You are still here? Okay? So you can measure your good fortune. You're not among those 300,000 people who have gone today. You have time right now. Okay? So know the extent of your good fortune. And you still are here. Are you able to eat? I'm sure we'll feed you a sumptuous feast, but are you in general able to eat? In general, nobody is starving here. I don't see any starving children or people around here. Right? All of you are quite fortunate. Right? 900 million people starve on a daily basis. Daily basis, okay? 900 million. 1 out of 9 people. Turn around, count 9 people around you, 1 of them is hungry. Not in this room, but it's there. Right? Turn around, count, look at, make that connection. 1 out of 9 people is hungry. So when you see people on the TTC angry, you know why they are angry, because they are hungry. Right? Right? Do you have shelter, a roof over your head, heating 24 degrees Celsius inside, right? Not -2, right? There are people who live there. I go out on Harinam at Old City Hall. There's a woman who sleeps on the street right there. You know, she loves it when we come out and do Sankirtan because that's a bright spot of the day. She's not worried that something bad is going to happen to her because when you're sleeping on the street, anything can happen to you, right? She's really scared, right? 150 million people are homeless, at least worldwide, right? And that is not counting places like India where you don't need a home to stay. You can stay under a tree somewhere, right? But even worse and more shocking is this statistic, right? Is that even though the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we are trying so hard to distribute the Bhagavad Gita as it is around the world in more than 100 languages, we have so far distributed less than 60 million of these worldwide. If you think that 60 million might be a big number, the Gideons distribute 70 million Bibles every year. And you'll see that in the video that comes up soon. 70 million a year, okay? But even 70 million is a small number because how many people are there? There are 8 billion people. Right? If you count all the Bibles and all the Gitas and all the Qurans and every single scripture on the planet, we are not distributing enough to save every person on the planet. Right? So, today, less than 0.75% of the world population, 0.75% of the world's population, think about how tiny fraction it is, even have access to a Bhagavad Gita as it is. And we talked about it, not just any Bhagavad Gita, I'm talking about the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Right? So this is our thing. How you can save lives, okay? Just a recap. Just think about that, okay? 300,000 people dying every day, 900 million people living without food, 150 plus million people living without shelter, in places where shelter are needed, right? And less than 0.75% of the world population having access to a Bhagavad Gita as it is. Right? How to save lives? I said, you know, what was the heading? Starting with our own, right? We want to save lives, but we want to make sure that we are safe first and foremost, right? Before you put on other people's masks on the plane, put on your own, correct? Right? So read the Bhagavad Gita deeply every single day. I've been reading for 20 plus years, and I tell you that I have not reached the bottom of this text. And I don't think that I will ever reach the bottom of this text. For this and for unlimited lifetimes. Okay? Every single day, every single time I read the Bhagavad Gita, I'm floored. I've found out something new. I've understood something new about myself, about others, about the whole world. Right? So it's incredible. Encourage others to read Bhagavad Gita by reading Bhagavad Gita together. My father is very old. He's 83 years old. He cannot read. So we read via phone. Right? I read and he follows along because his eyes are not strong enough to be able to read very well. So you can do the same to the people around you. You don't have to have a person who cannot read to be able to encourage others to read. Right? Sit down and say, instead of talking about cricket, instead of talking about politics, let's talk about the Bhagavad Gita for a change. Okay? 5 minutes of Bhagavad Gita will make a big, huge difference. And our goal is to distribute 3.7 million of these Gitas. And that's unfortunately not going to change that statistic very much in 1 year, okay? It's not going to change that statistic. We need everyone to do what they can to help us out. If you can come with me, I'm out 2 to 3 times a week. Sharing Harinam Sankirtan and Bhagavad Gita and other spiritual literature out on the street at Old City Hall. Feel free to join me. Or if you pass me, then don't just pass me by. Come and join me. Let's do this together. Right? Don't be shy. Right? But if you are not comfortable doing that and going out on the street, then help us. We will distribute the Bhagavad Gitas on your behalf. Mother Binakshi here has been distributing Bhagavad Gitas since she was here high, toward this high. Right? She's been distributing books out on the street in all kinds of different ways. And she still distributes thousands and thousands of Bhagavad Gitas that we end up sponsoring here, right? So, just remember, you are alive and there are 8 billion minus 300,000 people still alive. Okay? We don't know who those 300,000 people are who are going to go tomorrow, right? Or even today for the rest of this day. We don't know that number yet. We don't know if it's our number coming, but we don't know, which car has our, name on it. We don't know. Right? We don't know these things. So while we are still alive and while others are still alive, please do that while you still can. Okay? So I'm congratulating you because you're a lifesaver by coming to this temple. So I'm requesting you and your kind contribution. My humble contribution is, I'm a CTO in an insurance company. I don't have a need to beg for my own sake. But this project is so big that I have no choice but to stand in front of you, get down on the floor and beg for some help from you. Okay? So my personal goal, because I got my Bhagavad Gita free of charge, is 100,000, a minimum of 100, be an instrument in the distribution of 1 lakh Bhagavad Gitas, right, in my lifetime. If I can exceed that, then we'll go more, but I want to hit the 100,000 number. So I cannot do it alone. I want to, please help me out here, like help us out, all of us out. Toronto is doing 27,000, right? And we actually had a special guest here who is very excited in the month of December. And it's been a long time since we saw you, Bhagavad Gita ji.
How's everybody doing? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Please tell us more.
Well, it's a great time as we heard. Let's thank Mahabhagavata Prabhu for sure telling us how Bhagavad Gita can save lives by chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, so it's an exciting time of the year. There are lots of Bhagavad Gitas going around, and there is one of them, if you like a big one. But we have a short video, as Mahabhagavata Prabhu mentioned in the beginning. It's called the Live to Give. It's very much connected to today's talk and the importance of sharing Bhagavad Gita with everybody. So we ask for your kind attention.